So I'd like to thank Mr. I.N.X here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Hailing right out of Wilmington, Delaware.
Yes, sir.
We got a real good commentary piece delving into a lot of topics with Ills Wills a little earlier. So we're going to, share those discussions with you guys. We're going to, expand on communicating, talking points, and just really how we can just enhance this connectivity. And
find me on Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud at I.N.X Music. I'm on Facebook under my real name, so you would probably just have to hit me on one of those other social medias to get my Facebook. Or you could just search I.N.X Music, because I have a fan page as well. I'm on YouTube as I.N.X Music as well. Pretty much I.N.X Music on all social media that you could think of. And that's my email as well, so if you want to get in touch with me about features, INXmusic at iCloud.
And just to start off, man, I need to know, why do you want to move to Philadelphia?
The main reason I want to move to Philly is because this is basically like where my network is right now. Like, most of the people I fuck with artistically are from this area, and I kind of feel like it also is like I would go as far to say is like Philly is like a main artery in terms of like artistic cities that lead me to other cities, because a lot of people, a lot of artists from other cities come to Philly, and so without me having to like venture out crazy, I could come here, meet a whole bunch of people through the network that I've solidified that lead me to other places. Like, a perfect example is when I featured at Bus Boys and Poets. The reason I got the feature is because a good friend of mine, Bria McCormick, put in a good word for me with Benny. And it's like, I know Bria McCormick because we both featured at Bree Love. And she's not from Philly, she's from Baltimore, but it's like that whole aspect of Philly attracting out-of-state people that Delaware doesn't attract. And me being able to form a network that leads me out to other places. That's pretty much why, like, the main reason.
I understand that so much, sir. What I take away, and again, an impression of like your pieces and your craft, is that it got a lot of seriousness, like awareness and empowerment in your poems. I mean, This is up for, whether you want to recite, whether you want to, share information on a link, or, to describe, like, what does a lighter side of your work sound like? Like, if you want to make someone laugh, or, do a Soul Train line, like, what does that sound like?
I don't think that exists for me. Like, there is no real lighter side to my work. There are funny parts to my poems, and to my music as well. There's things that people can laugh at, but it's not necessarily laughing at it because it's meant to be lighthearted, but laughing at it because the ridiculousness of the reality is so great. Like, there's a part in my Donald Trump poem where I was like, it's pussy grabbing the key to making America great again. And people always laugh at that part. And it's a serious part, but it's just funny because, like, that's the foolishness of Donald Trump. And I'm like, yo, have I been trying, like, is pussy grabbing a secret technique? Have I been trying to make wrong all these years? And it's like, they laugh at that, but there's also seriousness in it. So, like, and that's how I am in real life too. Like, a lot of things that I make jokes about are like serious things, but there's humor in seriousness. There's humor in the sense that we can all relate that this is utterly ridiculous. So, like, in that sense, there's humor in some of my pieces, but never purposeful humor in the sense that, like, I'm being lighthearted or like overly happy, just because I'm more focused on addressing these situations that don't get just time or just conversation. Like, we could talk about shit that makes us happy all day, but it won't always progress us. We need to talk about, like, the hard topics. We need to have the hard conversations, and I kind of use my poetry to introduce those things.
Someone's speaking about what needs to be spoken about in terms of what's real and what we have to face. Can you identify what has been a big obstacle or time of adversity in your artistic career?
Probably the biggest obstacle for me when when it comes to music is finding instrumentation to actually rap over. I just find that we're in such an oversaturated era that like everybody is accessible, right? So like everybody can put their work online, and that's a great thing for people who like are very nuanced, people who have, I don't want to say things to offer, but people who fit the vibe that I'm looking for. But it also means that I have so much to comb through, because like a lot of people sound the same. It's a lot of niggas out here that's just making music for the sake of saying they making music and not really putting no heart behind it. And like I feel like that type of mind state is like over flooding the internet, because it's just like I can record a fucking song on my phone and post it, and then like 100 people will listen to it. And you know, like when it comes to looking for instrumentals that fit the vibe that I'm trying to go for, it's like extremely difficult. And that's why I haven't really been writing too much music lately. I've been focusing a lot on my poetry, just because it's strictly dependent on me. Like I don't need anybody else to write poetry, whereas like I need a team of niggas to produce the quality of music that I want to produce, or that I have produced in the past. So that probably is like one of my biggest obstacles. Besides that, I would say living in Delaware, but I mean, you know, at the end of the day, travel is very much a thing, so I don't really look at that as a hindrance anymore. I kind of look at it as like one of the fun facts about me, like, yeah, I'm this dope and I'm from Wilmington, because people don't think anybody in Delaware is talented, whereas like there is plenty of, you know, talented people you could find, whether it be with poetry or music or drawing or visual arts, or whether it's just down to pure intellect. So, you know, it's very, I would say my biggest obstacle is just finding the instrumentation to fit the musical sound I want to go with.
So like this actually bounces into the next question, because what people tend to find out is that, you know, I.N.X is a live performance artist who does poetry, but who also happens to have like, you know, a good amount of you know, music online, like links and everything. So what ways does the approach of what you put on like SoundCloud or music sites differ from what you do live?
Actually for me it's like kind of the same shit. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I don't really have a different process for writing poems than I do for like writing music. Like I kind of just go with the flow. Like if I hear instrumentation and I get a vibe for it, I rap on it. Or if I'm sitting down and I have an idea that I think might work better as a poem, I just start writing. Like for me, it's all about like sitting with the idea, really embracing it in a way that like I could communicate it back properly. And then in terms of like my performance, I feel like no matter whether I do poems or music, I'm always have that aggression, because I was just born with a strong voice. Like my grandpa is a preacher, my dad's brother is a preacher, so I feel like it kind of like runs in my genealogy to a certain extent. So like with my music, like if you listen, my voice and my music has just as much bite as my voice and my poetry, pretty much. And they kind of like are the same thing to me, because I go about writing them the same. The only difference is like, you know, with poems, it's a different experience in terms of how you absorb it than it is with the music.
Yeah.
And I would actually probably say that my writing and my poems is probably a higher quality than my writing and my music, just because I don't have certain constraints like measurement and things like that. Like I could just say whatever the fuck I want without it rhyming or anything. It just rhymes.
Right, so you're one of the few people who I would say there are a few people that have like a particular theme of you know, post, and one of the things I feel I've gravitated to is the morning wisdom. Now, do you say, do you tell yourself these things, like when you wake up, do you prepare them? Yeah, a lot of people really, you know, like this whole thing, and it's very valuable information.
Actually, they really are like random thoughts of the day. Like I'll just be doing something and like, cause I think a lot in general. Like it's like 10,000 things going through my mind at any given point in time. And I think a lot about life too, and just like the way things affect me. And yeah, like my random thoughts of the day, they kind of just like spur me. Sometimes like they're like really thought out. Like sometimes I'll type something up in the morning based off like something that's going on with me in life, and then like post it when I figure out how to word it properly. And then other times I'll just jump on a book and be like, hey, like this is what I'm feeling right now. And like I really started doing it because I just feel like there's a lot of things that we feel as people that we don't feel we have the open space to discuss. And so I kind of just post these random thoughts of the day so that like people reading them can know like, hey, look, if you want to discuss this on my status, it's cool. Or if you just read it and find solace in the fact that you're not the only person that feels this way. And like that's even why I do a lot of my art in general. Is just like I just want a lot of people to know that like, look, this feeling that you may have is not specific to you. It's other people out here who have this feeling. Let's discuss it. Type thing.
In conclusion, I want to ask you, what do you feel that people should know about you, whether it's personal or musical, from any artistic angle, that what do you feel they should know that they don't know yet?
That they don't know. Oh, okay. That's a real one. That they don't know. Cause I put a lot of my personal life in my work, so it's like if you like actually listen and like you find out a lot about me. I'm not like, I don't broadcast my shit just cause like I know how toxic it can be to allow everybody else to be inside your relationship. So like, my Facebook status still says single and all that, but like I'm definitely wifed up to the fullest, happily.
Sure. You have just completed your I.N.X music interview. As we have closing statements, what's coming up within the next few months for you?
Well, right now I've been heavy trying to slam, so I will most likely be at Fuse on the 23rd slamming, because I am trying to make IWPS and I'm trying to make nationals on the Fuse team as well. Feature wise, I'm chilling on features right now. I have something in January at UD, University of Delaware, so that's in the works right now in terms of discussion. I'm working on my second book. That joint should be dope. Cranking out the last couple poems for it, revising and everything. I may have a couple songs floating around the MacBook that might get dropped too. Everything is kind of nothing too concrete right now, but y'all will definitely be seeing much more of me as time goes on. I don't plan on fading out the scene anytime soon. Well, yeah, my work is so revealed because like all right, like I talk about my manic depression all the time, so people know I have manic depression. I've talked about my mom's bad health before, so people know like my mom has battled with seizures and cancer. I talk about being raised by my grandmom a lot, so people know I was raised by my grandmom. Maybe something that not a lot of people know is that I currently am in a relationship. I have a dope ass girlfriend.
Hold on. Yes, sir. Ain't no town like your hometown. Feel it. It goes down in your hometown. Feel it. Ain't no